Greetings, what is up, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is hiding, and the magpie is casting. Coming to you guys right now this fine morning with a live 1 vs 1 Company of Heroes 2 game, fresh from the top of the ladder, featuring Sporting in the North. It is once again returning to the channel, going to be the Wermacht forces of Itaperuna. And Sporting in the South, playing as the Soviet forces, it'll be IMeanIT Band, who is, as far as I know, new to the channel. Don't remember this guy, so yep, kind of looking forward to seeing exactly what they're capable of here. Looks like they're going to be rocking with the guard motor coordination tactics. Is that the shock rifle NKVD geezers? Yeah. Oh, or rather, shock rifle frontline tactics. Yikes. And who's this geezer? Guard rifle combined arms tactics. Okay. Honestly, looks a little bland. I think if it had like something else instead of KV1, I'd like this guy a lot more. I don't really know what the KV1 is up to in the current meta, to be honest. It always used to feel a little bit soggy, like quite a limp tank. Useful very occasionally in the sort of late early game if you could get one out like really fast, but I assume that it doesn't work that way anymore. I assume you probably need to have your mechanized armor campanier out before you can throw the KV1 out onto the field. Itaperuna here, going to be rolling with the mobile defensive doctrine, the assault, what's this guy? Assault geezer, mechanized assault doctrine, that's it, and the spearhead doctrine. So a trio of very capable, very well thought of commanders here. I think all of these three are great. Kind of hoping to see a little bit more mobile defense doctrine. I feel like I've seen quite a lot of the other two commanders on that roster. Mobile defense doctrine is an interesting one. Of course, it opens up the Puma. It gives you Ostrapens, and doesn't it also give you the Panzer Command Tank? Yeah, it does. So yeah, I'd actually quite like to see more mobile defense doctrine. I think there's a lot of potential for that commander, and I would argue, perhaps on a small map like Crossroad, that Panzer Command Tank could be even more useful because it will basically be affecting like almost every unit in most of the big engagements. So that's pretty cool. Looks like it's going to be a conscript opener here for our Soviet player, techless thus far, and we've got infantry company up so far for Itaperuna, so kind of some fairly standard stuff here out of these two players. We'll have to see what Band is going to do with regards to tech as this game moves forward. None of these commanders are particularly transformational, so I imagine we're probably going to see a support weapon campanier come down like in the next minutes of this game. Yeah, so let's see now. When was the last time I put a video up? I'm just wondering if there's been any sort of updates or anything. I'm turning my sort of living room into a sort of. It's not going to be entirely focused on casting, but I'm building a sort of a rack in there for my PC, and I'm going to get a camera or two up in there, and from there I'll be able to stream like whatever I'm doing on my Switch or my PlayStation or my PC, hopefully in a much more comfortable setup, because like that's obviously where my sofa is as well. So yeah, that should be pretty exciting. We're a ways off yet. Like I'm basically custom building the rack for my PC, which is going to live to the right of my sofa, and it's going to have a screen on there so I can have like Twitch chat and everything like separate from my main monitor. And I've got like a 4K screen in there, which I know I keep going on about, but I'm so hyped. It's like, honestly, playing Super Smash Brothers on a screen that big. I know Super Smash Brothers doesn't actually run in 4K, but it does run in like 55 inches, and oh my god, it's so amazing. It's actually revolutionary. I'm loving that. I don't really talk about Smash Brothers very much actually, but it is probably my like actual most played game these days, because like I don't count my time casting a game as my time playing it, really. I mean, because the two are very separate. You don't really build up the same set of skills doing the two different things. So yeah, I think Smash Brothers, I mean, I try to play like half an hour a day or so just to keep myself warmed up on that one. And for anyone who's curious, I'm basically like a Joker / Palutena main, but I play a stupid amount of King K. Rool because I just have so much fun playing as K. Rool. He's so good. And I also play a fair bit of Pikachu because he's just like so good for learning how to combo and just kind of. He's really good for figuring out the game. K. Rool and Pikachu teach you so much about the game, I reckon. If you can string together a couple of games as them, you'll actually learn a ton. And then I go back to playing the characters I'm actually good at, like Joker and Palutena, and I'm so much more capable. Anyway, this is all completely besides the point. I'm just blabbering. What are we now? It's Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah, Tuesday the 17th of December. Christmas approaches. My plans for the day sort of cancelled out, so that's how come I have this this castable window here. So yeah, That's how come I'm casting today. What we got here? Panzer Grenadiers coming out. Let's just quickly check the tech here. So we got the medical bunker is up. Panzer Grenadiers coming on out the HQ. Still no tech here for Band. No command to pick out of either player. Looks like the majority of field control going the Soviets' way, and I would sort of expect that in an opening where it's conscripts against Wehrmacht Tech 1 stuff. That does mean that this MG42... Why is it not firing? How did these conscripts just sneak through that arc without the MG42 opening fire? I feel like that's very unlucky for Itaperuna there. Does this actually block line of sight, this pillar or something? Or was the machine gun just reloading or bugged or something? I don't know. I feel like I often say this on the channel, but I mean, it probably bears repeating. The early stages of Wehrmacht versus pretty much anything, but definitely Wehrmacht versus Soviets, especially when Soviets have gone for a conscript opener. Nice rifle grenade there. Oh, that should be a squad wipe. This MG42. Yeah. Nicely done there. Picking up a squad wipe in the early stages of the game is going to make life very hard for your allied opponent. But yes, as I was saying earlier, these early stages of Wehrmacht versus particularly Soviets are just pretty much always defined by the MG42 and whether it gets to find many conscript squads or penal battalion squads or whatever under its arc. And I feel like this is a game where we didn't really hear the MG42 thundering away that much, certainly getting a bit unlucky in that last engagement, but able on the back of a lovely rifle grenade there to secure a squad wipe. Some tech has started appearing for the Soviet player. We've got a tank of battalion command, we've got a support weapon Campanaya, so pardon me. Seems like Band was just delaying his tech in order to be able to fall his engineers back one time and build two structures. So there is some efficiency to be gained there. I'd love to see Band start churning out some more infantry squads. 3 squads of conscripts will not be enough to see off 3 squads of grenadiers with Panzer Grenadiers and an MG42 and possibly pioneers in the fight as well. So yeah, this is there's an army disparity here, and Band finds himself the underdog, and we can see having to fall back his army and now come back out to meet the German forces who have moved much further forward. Securing the midline of the map right now is Itaperuna, and that is nicely done. T-70 will be the choice here out of the Tank of Battalion Command, as we're used to seeing out of Soviet forces. Particularly on crossroads, the T-70 is just a basically omnipresent threat. It's so fast, it's so nimble, it's so useful, even into the later stages of the game. It comes as a complete lack of surprise. Ooh, some Soviet mines here, going to find some grenadiers. Comes as a complete lack of surprise, of course, that the T-70 will be the pick here. It's a rare game when Soviets skip the T-70, and it's amazing because even knowing that, you know, your average, it still does well in most games, even when Wehrmacht players know that they have to be playing around this unit. And I mean, look what we've got here. We're 7-8 minutes into the game. The T-70 is out now, and there's not a pack gun. And there's no Panzer Shrek. So basically what I'm saying is there's no hard answer for this T-70. So this T-70 is just going to get to have its way with these units for now. And that's going to be really nasty for the Axis player. But Band sort of needs it to be really nasty for the Axis player because he's kind of in a pretty bad way right now. Axis forces have pushed up right to the doorstep of the Soviet base. The T-70 here is going to buy a moment here and immediately forces 4 squads to fall back. And Pack Gun is on the queue now. There was a 251 half-track on the queue, but that gets cancelled. A Pack Gun gets picked. I think that's much more sensible. Sure, go for the half-track if you want to, but go for it after the Pack Gun. You're going to need that Pack Gun. Now we've got shock troops on the front, which means that it's a NKVD frontline rifle tactics has been picked here. So shock troops going to be added into the roster, and these will be a much more spicy, much meaner, hard-hitting replacement for the conscript squad that was wiped earlier. Here they come, body armor, PPSHs, and grenades toting. So Soviet forces kind of putting back together the Soviet territory right now. Let's crack the tack here. We can see the Allied player, the Axis player basically had to fall back all his units. So they've now repaired, reinforced. They're coming out onto the map here. Pack gun will be here, so finally there's a way of dealing with the T-70. And now I imagine we're going to see a fight taken probably around here with most of the units from both factions. Looks like a pocket of conscripts here are going to get forced back. Panzer Grenadiers and way too many KAR-98Ks will be forcing them out of that section of the map. Looks like the T-70 actually will get rerouted to assist. Pardon me. So yeah, T-70 doing some work here. The pack gun is actually not present, so that T-70 is probably going to win on the western flank there. Rifle grenade comes through, trying to find some shock troops, find some mild damage only, nothing to write home about. Molotovs, obviously, for a second I thought Molotovs had finished because these conscripts were like running up onto this pack gun, but they really do just want to force it back. T-70 going to transition back into mid. MG42 is here, so I imagine that will probably force the MG42 back here. There's just no AT. The pack gun is in a nice position now. You know what, actually, can he reach? No, that T-70 is going to be able to slip away unpunished. Now, whoa, Grenadiers advancing into shock troops. Oh! Yikes. And that will be a squad wipe. Shock troops, of course, the grenades on them, they are elite squads, so the grenades are cooked and the fuse is rather short. And those Grenadiers will be paying the price. And looks like I said, there was a big fight in this area of the map, and it's the Soviet player who has won. And really, although a lot of things happened in that fight, it really all just comes down to, does the T-70 get forced back or destroyed? And that just didn't happen in that fight. The T-70 was able to evade the pack gun and not get fousted. And because of that, you know, then the MG42 has to fall back, and without the MG42, how do you really hold on against triple conscript shock troops? You know, with a lot of difficulty is the answer. Some really ambitious conscripts coming forward here. They really want that pack gun. They're not going to get it. The MG42's in a lovely position here. Incendiary rounds will be used here, and that should buy a moment where the T-70 has to give way. Oh no, actually the T-70 kills the MG42 gunner. Super annoying. This is feeding a lot of veterancy onto the MG42. Keep an eye down here, you can see how much damage is creeping in. Shock troops going to lunge forwards here, forcing some Grenadiers back, and Shreks have now finished on these Panzergrens, and that will force the T-70 out of the hood here. But if we crack the tech, we can see that last phase of play, very profitable for Band here. And now, whoa, the Panzer Grenadiers are just kind of pushing out unsupported. They're getting kited a little bit. Oh, the T-70 gets double fausted, but she can take it. And she's going to get out of there. This gun gets added into the roster. Maxim gun gets added into the roster. I like both of these choices. Band here displaying some nice unit selection here with his forces. The Axis army looking very small right now, heavily diminished over that last phase of play. The pack gun gets recrewed, and that is necessary, I would say, for this Axis player to remain in the game. Why is this Maxim gun not firing? Is he... Oh, there's just nobody on the gun. I see. There we go. I apologize. I'm still not 100% healthy, unfortunately. Winter in England is a hell of a time. It's just so cold, and the viruses just circulate endlessly. Okay, well, it's on Itaperuna to try and get something done here. I mean, this game isn't over, but it definitely looks grim for the Axis player. Let's quickly check the tech here. So support armor core has been finished. So that means battle phase 2, of course, was done. How much fuel are we stacking now? Actually 100, so could take an Ostwind if Itaperuna felt like it. And I would actually argue this is not super bad circumstances under which to go for the Osti. Although you've seen shock troops out your opponent, so you have to be anticipating an IS-2 sooner rather than later, because Band has had the majority of fuel control this game. So Ostwind obviously doesn't line up great against an IS-2. So I guess you're priced into saving for a Panzer IV. You know what? This would be a fine time to click Mobile Defense Doctrine and just grab a Puma and some Ostrupon. I feel like that... He's going to go for the Ostwind. Okay. But now the problem is, how do you deal with the IS-2? I mean, double pack gun is a good start, so maybe that's the plan. So, okay, that's the line Itaperuna has chosen, and I respect their judgment here. Although I would have liked to have seen a Puma and some Struppen when the manpower was available. We're not going to see that now. And the Ostwind will be fine in the short term. This Ostwind will, I imagine, substantially stabilize the board. Assuming it doesn't fall foul of an AT grenade, which actually haven't been researched. That's probably a bit of an oversight here from IT Band. You have to assume that your Axis opponent will have some kind of armored choice out in the next minute or two, because we haven't seen a 222 or anything. There's a rifle grenade. Where's that going? Oh, conscript's getting forced back. Yeah, you have to assume that your Axis opponent's going to be coming out with a fuel unit, and so the anti-vehicle grenade package, it's not expensive and it's incredibly useful. So I imagine as soon as this Ostwind gets scouted, Band will realise that they haven't got the AT grenade package, and that will get added onto the queue here. Ostwind immediately catching the shock troops is very nice, actually. These are the highest value unit it could have found here. So look, you can see the veterancy creeping up onto there, but no, the Zisgun is in the hood. See, this is when, if there were AT grenades, this would be super dangerous, but without them, this Ostwind is just absolutely fine doing this. So let's just check. Still no AT grenade package coming on. That is a very useful upgrade. It needs to happen, I think. T-70 is going to get stuck into the rear armor of this Ostwind. This gun finds another hit, and the Ostwind will be pushed away. MG42 taking up a great position in mid, allowing some grenadiers to get onto the middle VP. What I haven't mentioned so far... Oh, incendiary artillery comes in, though. What I haven't mentioned so far, of course, is the scoreline. About a 200-odd ticket advantage right now for Band, reflecting the field dominance that the Soviet player has enjoyed this game. And, you know, Itaperuna needs some big swings in order to bring this one back. T-70 is going to scurry away. Pack gun coming on into the flame there a little bit. Actually not burning, so has found itself... There's just a spot here where it is not being burned. That's fine. But there's going to be an IS-2 here momentarily, and you have to feel like that's just going to close the door on Itaperuna in this game. Conscript squad in jeopardy there, but they're okay. Anti-vehicle grenade package still not finished. Okay, just finishes just then, so okay. Now these conscripts are a real incredible threat against the Ostwind. This gun does get wiped out by Panzer Grenadiers in a nice position, though. The MG42 has long had to flee, and I imagine without the MG42, this Axis position will be folding. Maxim's going to push forward into mid. And, yep. Itaperuna is forced back once again. Battered, bruised, bowed, but not quite broken. It is close. The IS-2 is less than a minute away, though, I would imagine. And that's going to be the big problem. I mean, Itaperuna's going for a second set of Panzer Grenadiers. I think when you're this far behind, you just... I question purchasing another very expensive squad. Obviously, they're expensive to buy, which reduces how many overall units you have, but they're also expensive to reinforce. I just am not sure exactly what utility this second squad of Panzer Grenadiers is going to be adding into this roster. Especially when you have to be worried about your opponent's fuel choice coming up. So basically what I'm saying is, I think that these Panzer Grenadiers should have been a second pack gun. Easy for me to say. I can see exactly what's going on in the whole map, and I know exactly that there's going to be an IS-2 coming. Wow, actually IT Band has somewhat mismanaged their manpower resource. I thought that the manpower was there for the IS-2. I was clearly wrong. So the IS-2 is going to be a little bit delayed, but should be here momentarily in a minute or two of manpower saving. As this barrage comes down onto the MG42, Maxim catches a lot of Axis squads under the arc here, somehow getting a suppress on 3 squads. That's so annoying. T-70, ever annoying as well, going to be strafing along the Axis line, getting damaged, throwing shells in. 2 stars of veterancy, probably soon to be 3 on that thing. I know, actually a little way away from 3-star veterancy, but it's been a very good T-70. The Ostwind in the background you can see getting repaired. That one's just now finished, so it can come to the front here momentarily. Panzer Shreks come in from a slightly unexpected angle, finding the flank on this light tank. But I mean, there's just more than enough Soviets here. Oh god, and there were mines as well. Oh no, and a Panzer Shrek is dropped. Are these shock troops going to grab that? That doesn't seem like the ideal tool for them. No, okay, good. Probably better off on some conscripts or the engineers or something like that. Ostwind here finds some nice conscripts who are isolated. It can chop them down. Gets an AT grenade to the face. Perhaps a little clumsy from Itaperuna. Probably could have kited. But that's acceptable. Not going to break the engine just yet. There are additional conscripts over here who are exposed as well. This gun comes across into the west of the map to try and cover these conscripts against the Ostwind. Engineer's also going to be moving into repair. I think we need to see a second this gun. It's going to be a mortar half-track. Is that what that is? Yeah, so, okay, who is this? Spearhead Doctrine gets picked. I'm having a bit of a head scratch, trying to understand exactly what's prompted Itaperuna to choose this commander to get a mortar half-track right now. I suppose your opponent is beating your face in with a lot of weapon teams, so the mortar half-track does make sense in that regard. I just think we need another pack gun, because I know we've got Panzer Shreks and 1 pack gun, but it's just like IS-2 is the threat here. And I know it hasn't materialized, but it could have been on the field already, and it will be on the field shortly, and you know that because you've seen your opponent's shock troops, and you've seen the incendiary artillery, and Itaperuna is a good player, so Itaperuna will know what commander he's up against. Maxim in a lovely position. This got a little exposed here, but the Maxim substantially covering it against the threat. MG42 also in a nice position, actually. But precariously low on health. The T-70 can come round, but it will be met by Shreks. So, a single Shrek actually only on this squad. The Shreks have not been rebought. Now the Ostwind takes a dive, gets the Maxim. There are no conscripts right here, right now, so it should be able to get out without... Oh, wow, actually, finds the T-70 with a nice Shrek. That is not destroyed. Very frustrating for Itaperuna. The Ostwind will exfiltrate on a sliver of health. So actually a really nice exchange there, but here comes the IS-2. But I feel like this is the best possible scenario for Itaperuna. That last little fight here, taking out a Maxim. Did he get the Zis gun? Oh, no, okay, the Zis gun did survive. And also, okay, he's going to get the T-70 hull as well, so really nice. And the Pat gun there immediately dinking this IS-2. And actually, look at this. Itaperuna is able to lay claim to a small section of the middle of the map while Soviet units are replenishing and reinforcing. The IS-2 alone won't be enough to push through here. Not with the Pat gun there. Well, he's going to try it. He's just taking some shots onto this MG. Fair enough. Whoa. That is a levitating Panzerschreck. Wow, the holy Panzerschreck. That should not be up here. There's just... What? Hang on a second, let's see if we can get a distant... Look, is that the Panzerschreck? I'm pretty sure that Panzerschreck shouldn't be floating up there, boys. Look at that. It's not every game you see that. Huh. I am... Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, there it goes. Oh, Company of Heroes 2, never change. We love you. Alright, oh no, this is a gross concentration of high-value Axis troops with an IS-2, has them under its barrel. The shot actually not super effective. Incendiary artillery, though, creating havoc in the back lines of the Axis forces here, who are, it has to be said, making meaningful gains elsewhere on the map. Grenadiers going to be chewing up some capture points. Looks like the IS-2 going to be tasked with coming to get them, although coming in arse first, a touch awkward, especially for a heavy tank with such slow turret traverse. Going to take a Faust for its troubles here. Not going to break the engine, though. And that should close this pocket of resistance. Now that the IS-2 is here, there is some infantry support here as well. But this game is far from over. This roster in the top left is definitely effective and well-rounded. And this roster in the top right for the Soviet player is definitely a little small. So although the IS-2 is the kingmaker on the field, it is not insurmountable. I feel like Itaperuna definitely alive in this game, although trailing at 140 under 453. So the most meaningful threat to Itaperuna's chances in this game definitely going to be the clock. But if they can stabilize and draw this game out a little bit, then we could start seeing some more meaningful anti-tank choices mixed in. And there is a timeline that exists where Itaperuna is able to survive long enough and bring in the Tiger tank. You know, that is an option which we're a long way away from right now, but like, it's all just about playing for time here for Itaperuna. If Itaperuna's going to win this game, it's going to be over a long duration of time. This is a game which Itaperuna starts looking at winning like way past the 40-minute mark, probably past the 45-minute mark. And this is a game which the Soviet player probably wants to close out before the 35-minute mark. Like, so those are the two styles we see here. It's a distinct attacker-defender dynamic, where it is the Soviet player who wants to aggressively close this game, and it's Itaperuna who has to just play to stay in the game and frustrate IT Band for as long as possible. It's going to be a KV-1. No, sorry, that's a KV-8. Sorry. Oh, wow. I feel like the KV-8's actually very strong here. That's so nasty. Oh, I forgot that the KV-8 was an option. Well, okay. Yeah, I mean, of the two IS-2 commanders, it's Armoured Assault Tactics and Shot Rifle Frontline Tactics. Those are basically the two good ones. Are they the only two IS-2 commanders? I don't know. But they're both really good because of what they get to bring with the IS-2. For my money, I personally prefer the Armoured Assault Tactics commander, but it's very close. Having a KV-8 with an IS-2 is devastating, for the same reasons that having the IL-2 strafing run with the IS-2 is devastating. It's a way of meaning that your opponent can't really play with their infantry against your IS-2, and that's very, very hard. When you say, hey, you don't get to use your Pat guns because they're going to get flamed or IS-2 strafed, then the IS-2 gets to be incredibly dangerous. These Panzer Grenadiers staying a little too long here. The IS-2 is going to get one more shot into them. No, it's not. Okay, the line of sight just not quite there to permit that final shot. So Panzer Grenadiers are going to sneak away for now. Are we up to double mortar half-track now? Okay, alright. I'm starting to see it. I mean, if you are going to play for the long term, which I am saying that's Itaperuna's game plan here. He has to play for the long term. Here comes the KV-8, though. then the mortar half-tracks are a smart choice, because they just mean that your opponent has to slow down a bit. It means that their units are getting taxed for every footstep they take towards your mortar half-tracks. And also the mortar half-tracks are a unit that really flourishes over time as they gain veterancy slowly but consistently. So I like this. A Stug as well. Itaperuna making all the smart choices. I love it. But MG42 here will be forfeit. KV8 will not take prisoners, and that unit did not get fallen back. Whoa, the mortar half-tracks just here exposed. Itaperuna slow on the fallback. The IS-2 will get a shot. No, it won't. But the pack gun will be forfeit, and that is almost as bad, to be honest. Hang on a second. This IS-2 is very low. I didn't realize that. Maybe time to pull this one back, bro. The pack gun's going to get another shot here. The pack gun. Oh, wait, he goes for the KV8. I guess he doesn't have line of sight onto the IS-2. Oh, the IS-2's coming forward? I suppose the pack gun's destroyed, but I mean, seriously, just get this thing out of here, man. You lose this IS-2 and this game is turned upside down. That's not what you want. Okay, now the Ostwind is coming in here. 2-star Ostwind. The rate of fire on that thing ferocious. An AT grenade will come through here, but it's not going to be very meaningful. And I'm starting to like Itaperuna's position in this game a little bit now, because the Stug is out. And that is an incredible threat to the IS-2 and the KV-8. And this Soviet roster is battered right now, and Itaperuna is going to be able to push out and grab himself some much-needed fuel income. And this Ostwind is... Once Ostwinds get to 2 stars of veterancy, they are very good then. It's really all about getting them there. And this one is now at 2 stars of veterancy. 24 Soviets destroyed by its cannon and its machine guns. And, hey, why are we destroying this Zis gun? Hey, we got grenadiers here. Let's grab the Zis gun. Surely, mate. This is the kind of thing you need. But, no, he's declining to grab the Zis gun. I'm not sure I'm a fan of that. But, you know, Itaperuna's a smart player. Definitely better than I, so... I think that's actually... definitely better than me. Okay, so, yeah, mortar half-tracks continuing to rain in destruction. One of them is now 1 star, which, yep, so then, oh, no. Oh, so they have the incendiary mortar barrage from 0 star. Of course they do. Of course they do. And, you know, IT Band, gasping right now for manpower, stacking a ton of fuel, would probably love to be able to spend that fuel. This is a roster where snowballing T-34s is probably going to be absolutely acceptable. Another Stug. Love it. This is so good. Where's the pack gun? Okay, the pack gun lurking behind the Stug. That's the right place for it. I mean, this game is getting a little bit difficult here for IT Band, which, given how dominant the early and mid game were, is a little bit surprising. Itaperuna just able to substantially swing the game during that moment when he was able to take out the T-70 and pick off the Maxim. You know what, actually, that Maxim not being replaced is quite big in this game, to be honest. IT Band just really unable to have the manpower to get everything they would like. So here comes the KV-8, the flamethrower less effective against the Ostwind. Ugh, the Stug and the Zis gun. Sorry, the Stug and the pack gun. Putting some big holes in the side of that KV-8 flamethrower tank. That one will be forced back for a second here. Probably going to take another shot on the way out. Nope. No line of sight to provide that. And this is a very fraught game here. Because if Itaperuna loses field control even once, I feel like they might be out, because 108 tickets is not very many. Okay, so now there is a meaningful amount of manpower in the bank for IT Band. I wonder what the choice will be. There's plenty of fuel here. So what do we go for? Is it another KV-8? Is it a T-34? Is it an Su-85? Is it a Katusha? I can see a good argument for any of those. Okay, the double Stug pack gun formation is pushing into mid. The Ostwind means that basically infantry cannot approach this. So actually Itaperuna is driving a wedge of Axis power out onto the map here, and okay, they're getting a bit clustered now, but by and large I really approve of the micro, sorry. It's going to be an Su-85 here for IT Band. And to a certain extent, I I mean, I like this choice. I think the T-34 would have been fine, another KV-8 would have been fine, I think an Su-85 would have been fine, I think a Katusha would have been fine for completely different reasons, but I like the Su-85 because it's a super hard answer for this Axis, like, forward formation. Like, the Stugs are good, but they kind of just lose to an Su-85. The focus sight on the Su-85 is very nice, and it can it's an incredibly threatening platform against these Stugs. I believe it's like, what, will it take 4 penetrating hits to kill a Stug or something like that? I could be wrong. It also helps repulse this Ostwind, and if you're able to defeat one of the elements of this Axis army, if you're able to push the Stugs off the line, or if you're able to push back the Ostwind, then it's the power of this Axis roster is substantially beaten, because without the synergies of those units, you can then, if you force back the Ostwind, then you can approach with conscripts and take out the Stugs, or force them back anyway. If you force back the Stugs, then you can approach with the tanks and take care of the Ostwind. The conscripts get gibbed though by a lovely bundle grenade, and that's the kind of thing that IT Band cannot be affording right now. The manpower income is so low. The Su-85 comes out, but it's immediately low. I didn't actually see what happened to that. When I say low, it's like below half health, which is pretty dire. It's not taking shots at this Stug, which makes me think it's not drawing line of sight correctly here. There we go, now it will be. Donk, gonna find some damage at last. The IS-2 repaired, gonna come forwards. Oh wow, the Su-85 fearless, gonna come forwards. Wow, there's a pack gun here though. Looks like the pack gun busy with the IS-2 for now. One of the Stugs has its engine broken. That'll be that one out. The Ostwind also with its engine broken in quite a vulnerable position. The pack gun not repositioning. The IS-2's front armor is good. But now there are Shreks in the equation, so additional damage. The Ostwind gives these conscripts for coming around this line of sight blocker. They need to fall back, and they will. Incendiary artillery comes down, perhaps too late though. I feel like the bulk of the fighting is done now. Okay, yeah, there they go. Alright, I don't think we're going to get this. Actually, we might get the pack gun. Yeah, we're going to get the pack gun. Oh, okay. Well, then the incendiary barrage was worth it. Hang on. Okay, yeah, we do get the pack gun. But it's in a recoverable position. Wiping the veterancy off of the pack gun is definitely nice. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. I mean, the longer this game goes on, though, I feel like it's just favouring Itaperuna. Because this Soviet roster is okay, but only just. There's just barely enough infantry to keep this roster alive. You can't win with just tanks, or at least not very often. You need boots on ground to capture points and make your territory gains meaningful. To a certain extent, I actually would just quite like IT Band, because I feel like this armor roster is great. IS-2, KV-8, Su-85, that's probably enough to win the game. So I think if you just continuously build engineers for now, I think I actually really like that, because engineers do everything you need to. They repair your vehicles and they capture points, and I think that's kind of enough. This Su-85 desperately wants repairs. Can we repair it, please? I worry every time I see it rumble forward. If you lose the Su-85, everything starts looking pretty grim again. I suppose you can replace it pretty quickly, but I mean, that's not the position you want to be in. IS-2 finds a nice shot here. Focus sight is up on the Su-85. Finds another nice shot, gets its first star of veterancy. Significant, of course, because at 2 stars of veterancy, the Su-85 starts becoming rather a monster, and at 3 stars of veterancy, it is a monster. It looks like the Stugs here going to take a risk coming in down the west flank. They get promptly scouted by some shock troops. So we'll see what the play is here. Looks like they're going to come in. The IS-2 is going to respect them. The Su-85 not turning! Not turning! Oh god, the Su-85 in a super bad position. We've got to start pulling this one back. Oh my god, IT Band not there with the micro on the Su-85. Dude, you saw those Stugs coming. That Su-85 had no business still being there. And that is game-changing damage. I'm not saying it's over by any means. This is still 108 tickets for Itaperuna under 363. This is still a 2-star IS-2 on the field. But now the KV-8 goes down. I think that was taken out by a combination of double pack gun, Panzer Shreks and stuff. Incendiary artillery comes down here, but I feel like IT Band is just, every phase of pay is falling slightly further behind here. Itaperuna putting together a pretty masterful display of Wehrmacht resilience. The 2 mortar half-tranks, 13 kills between them, 2 stars of veterancy between them. They're basically starting to pay for themselves from now on. And now we're sort of seeing T-34 spam, which, oh no, what is this T-34 doing? We're just driving out in front of 2 pack guns here, not cool. We're not going to lose this one, but it's like, it's just not, that's not the sort of, not the birth any T-34 wants into a game. And these Stugs, you know, they've been so good. An often overlooked unit is the Stug, but it's so good. And bear in mind, actually, these Stugs have never had their Pintle Mount MG42s purchased. I suppose Itaperuna has been relatively poor in all resources this game, but I mean, we're getting into the stage now where that could happen. Now, the pack gun's actually going to come across into East, and Itaperuna feels confident enough to come forward and challenge the home VP for the Soviet player. So, and getting these Stugs into position with the pack guns here to punish potential Soviet movements coming from east to west to come and challenge this move out here. Very nice. Looks like the second T-34 is cancelled and an Su-85 will be rebuilt. I think this is the correct choice, but this time, IT Band, we have to make sure that this Su-85 is in the right position, facing the right way at all times. That's the key. Su-85s are very micro-intensive. Well, I don't know if they're very micro-intensive, but you have to micro them. Let's take a look here as both players just kind of jockeying for position and getting ready for the inevitable big clash that will occur once all of these armoured units are repaired. T-34 here going to be used as a sort of third-lance unit here to rush aside the opening Axis infantry. Su-85 is on the field. The IS-2 comes forward. Why is this Su-85 coming forward? As soon as you know where your opponent's Stugs are, wow, that little drive forward there was a gross mistake. As soon as you see where the Stugs are, yeah, I mean that's probably cost him the game. Driving forward about, what was that, 10 meters or so with that Su-85, literally game-changing. Because as soon as those Stugs fire your IS-2, the Su-85 needs to stop and reverse like this so that it turns while it reverses. And then we're in a completely different game. Now the now the T-34 goes down. I feel like probably IT Band has lost the game now. Wow, I mean, making some unfortunate mistakes. And these are clutch decisions. You know, you've got to be there with the Su-85, because if you're 3 seconds too late or if you give it the wrong order, as we can see, the game is completely different. And now I feel like we're in a timeline where Itaperuna's chances to win this game are mighty. Is this a Tiger tank? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I believe that's game, to be honest. I mean, how do you win this as IT Band? I don't think you're ever going to get a meaningful cap on your opponent here in terms of VPs. Here comes the Tiger tank against this very wounded IS-2. Itaperuna here cleverly prioritizing getting those shock troops off of this point. The Tiger tank has plenty of health. It can sustain a couple of shots from the IS-2 in order to maintain the neutrality of the central VP here. That's the priority right now. It's all about the VPs. This is the only way that IT Band could ever conceivably win this game, is by grinding out these 108 tickets that Itaperuna has left. But I don't think that's going to happen. Not with double Stug. Oh, the Ostwind got taken out somewhere. Oh, I missed that, my bad. And these mortar half-tracks. 16 kills between them now. I think I have to really respect Itaperuna's decision-making this game. You know, I said earlier on that this is a game that the Soviet player probably only wins or really wants to win before the 35-minute mark, and this is a game where the Axis player probably only wins at the 40-45+ minute mark. And Itaperuna actually on target to beat that estimate. We're at 38 minutes, or 39 minutes, let's call it. And this Soviet roster looks almost irredeemably bad. Now, IT Band has the luxury of one last Su-85. And, you know, whilst an Su-85 and an IS-2 still stand on the field, I would say that IT Band is not 0% to win this game. You know, they're still alive in this game, but we've got one shock squad, 2 conscript squads, 2 engineer squads, one of whom has a Shrek, so that's nice. And this, I would say, I would suggest that this is the bare minimum for IT Band to have a meaningful chance to win this game. But we're still looking at long odds here. Now, the one thing IT Band does have, of course, is time. 307 tickets, bleeding at 1 per tick is a lot of time. So it's strange, actually, how the positions have almost been reversed. It's now Itaperuna who probably wants to end this game sooner, and the longer the game drags on from this point, probably the more it favours IT Band. I would say. So the IS-2 gets utterly plinked. Ain't no way. Okay, well, this Su-85 just creeping forward too far. Okay, incendiary artillery is going to cover its advance, but you're not finding any meaningful shots here, so this one needs to get back. Repair the IS-2 immediately, please. That's the thing to be doing. Where are these engineers at? Oh, he lost his engineers with the Shrek in that exchange somewhere. Yikes. Oh, here they are. These grenadiers are a bit clustered. Okay. I mean, losing those engineers is huge because this is just a large swathe of time where IT Band cannot repair that IS-2 as quickly as they might otherwise be able to, and this is going to be a game where the repair rate on armor is directly, directly like affects how much efficiency your armor can achieve out on the battlefield. Like, repairing your tanks means that they can fight again sooner, and that is everything in this game. Su-85 here finds a cheeky angle. Manages to... This is smart Su-85 play, just taking shots at max range, making life annoying for your Axis opponent. There we go, this is it. This is how we use Su-85s. We don't throw them in, we don't expose them to pack guns. We don't let them rumble forwards when they shouldn't be. There we go, see now he's just forced all of this Axis armor to reposition. This is how Su-85s get value. Careful now, that's a pack gun. He does see the pack gun, why is he creeping forwards? That's it. Can't be coming into those pack guns. Now the pack guns are exposed, without the tanks to protect them, the conscripts can push them back, and bit by bit, IT Band is getting some value out of this Su-85. I mean, it's risky. This is quite an exposed Su-85, but he does have these conscripts providing vision, so he'll know if his opponent tries to come in with armor and surprise him. Looks like incendiary artillery going to come in once again. Finds the Axis Maxim. The IS-2 now repaired. Additional engineers... he's just lost some conscripts. And you just cannot be sustaining infantry, core infantry losses like this when you're this far behind as IT Band. Panzerschreck's here, going to find the IS-2, but it's armor-proof against such attacks. This IS-2 shortly to find its 3rd star of veterancy. Shock troops pinned down here. Is this going to be a bundle grenade? Is IT Band paying attention? The IS-2 getting perilously low, under the barrel still of many Axis AT weapons. Whoa, and the IS-2 goes down. That's game. Wow. A masterful display here from Itaperuna. I'm so impressed. Looks like IT Band is going to stay in this game for a few minutes longer, or a few moments longer perhaps, but I mean this game is over. He's going to lose the Su-85 here momentarily, and you can't win this game without those. Wow, what a great game! Oh, I'm really chuffed that we were able to jump into such a good game here. Itaperuna there, looking quite the underdog for the early and mid game there, and then identifying exactly what they needed to do to maximize their odds of winning this game over a longer phase of time. And here we have a 43-minute victory for Wehrmacht forces in a fantastic game. To some extent, I think it's... I think, you know, apart from the fantastic decision-making of Itaperuna, which was able to keep them in the game and deflect the just brutal composition that IT Band was able to achieve very quickly. That IS-2 was relatively quickly capitalizing on the back of great field control and resource income domination there for IT Band. Itaperuna's amazing decision-making was able to keep them in the game. And to some extent, I mean... I'd be lying if I said that there were a couple of mistakes from IT Band in the late game after that point that I just mentioned where Itaperuna had to change tack and try and play for a later game. There were a couple of mistakes from IT Band, definitely, which also had a significant... which also significantly decided how this game ended. So I think all 3 of the Su-85s, well, definitely the first 2, definitely didn't need to die. That 3rd one, I mean... At that point, the game was over, so it doesn't really matter what happened to the 3rd Su-85 there. But the first Su-85 and the second one just kind of dying under circumstances where they just didn't need to. So, I mean, if I had one recommendation for IT Band, and I know it's very easy for me as a caster with omnipresent vision to just sort of say these things, but I would say IT Band could use a little work on the SU-85 micro there, because I feel like if the SU-85 micro is there, this game's like not only winnable, but I really feel like IT Band could have closed it out. But again, like I say, you know, it's easy for me to say these things when you're the player in the game dealing with hundreds of shouting voices and have fog of war on your minimap, and just kind of, it's a completely different experience playing from casting, like completely different. And I respect IT Band massively for their showing in this game, and I fully acknowledge that both of these players are way better than I am. But still, yeah, definitely the SU-85s could have won this game if they didn't just overextend, essentially. I think I have quite a well-defined idea of how tank destroyers should be used in my brain, possibly because I overuse them myself, so I have a disproportionately high amount of experience using and microing those units. So it's like I find it quite natural to suggest building tank destroyers and also to criticize when I think I see poor micro of those units. But I don't feel like I was wrong in this example, so I'm going to stick by my guns there and just say IT Band here bring a fantastic game. Cannot really argue with his early game, cannot really argue with his mid game or his decision making in those stages, but just kind of let down a little bit by his late game decision making and micro, and that's fine. You know, I think if I was IT Band and those were my notes based on this game, I'd be absolutely fine. I'd say, great, that's great. So what you're basically telling me is I'm an amazing player and I have some key areas which, you know, based on this one game sample, I can work on and become just a truly great player. So I think that's really cool. Itaperuna here, just a masterful display of Wermacht resilience. Quite how he wasn't beaten in the mid game here, I'm not entirely sure. I might have to go back and watch. Like I have memories in this game of like large amounts of Axis infantry being under an incendiary barrage here, whilst like everything is going wrong, and there's an IS-2 like just coming really soon and stuff, and it's like, I think a lot of Wermacht players might have even left the game by then, but Itaperuna, no, immediately clicks on Spearhead Doctrine, which I was kind of iffy on. I was like, really? You sure you don't want mobile defense, mate? You sure you don't want a Puma to help deal with this troublesome T-70? You sure you don't want Ostrapan to help bolster your reduced infantry lineup? But he was like, no, I need mortar half-tracks, because this is a game that I only win if it goes on for another 20-25 minutes, and mortar half-tracks are a unit that flourishes in that game dynamic, and forces my Soviet opponent to just be slower. That's what mortar half-tracks, that's what mortar units do. They slow your opponent down because your opponent's infantry units are just constantly taking losses, so they have to fall them back sooner. They have to pay more manpower, so their unit development is stunted. And going for the double mortar half-track here, ballsy. And there was one or two times I thought that the mortar half-tracks would have been caught out and destroyed, but they actually just weren't, so they paid off fantastically. Nice work for Itaperuna. The decision-making, absolutely just on point. Sweet game. Really glad to have caught it. Yeah, I guess that concludes this video. Thank you so much for watching, and this for now, Magpie842 signing out.